It's time for Wise Money with Korhorn Financial Group with certified financial planners Kevin Korhorn, Mike Bernard, and Josh Gregory.
Welcome to another episode of the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group, where every week we're helping you take your next wise step in your financial life. Thanks for being here, friends. My name is Mike Bernard. I am your host. I'm also one of the certified financial planners on the program. And with me in the KFG studios, my business partners and friends and fellow CFPs, Kevin Korhorn and Josh Gregory.
So here's the question. What are the best strategies to use when saving up for retirement without having a 401k available at work? So whether your employer doesn't have one or for the times when you're at a new employer and you're not yet eligible, what strategies should you consider? That and more coming up on this hour.
Hope you're having an awesome start to the year and, recalibrating what your tax shelter strategy is, how much you're saving. That is something that you should recalibrate at the start of each year, if not other times. We're helping with that right now. If you have a question for the program, we'd love to hear from you, or if you need any help, we're here as well. Call or text 574-222-2000. That's 574-222-2000. Online, wisemoneyshow.com is where you can find us. And then all over social media, wherever you're at, we are there as well. Search the Wise Money Show. You can connect with us that way. Okay, guys. How many people, what percentage of businesses, let's say, offer a retirement plan at work? What would you guess? Without looking, what would you guess?
45.
Okay.
I haven't looked, but I think 37%.
Okay.
Roughly a third.
So you're both terribly wrong. Like, not even in the ballpark, by the way. No, I'm just kidding. You could look this up and get a bunch of different answers. The first one that I saw was around 33%. But I think that's who has a 401k.
Whoa.
Yeah.
There are still pensions out there. And
I went over.
Well.
I should have bid $1. Then I would have won.
I stumbled upon the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and it's looking closer, like about 2/3 are covered by a retirement plan at work, and about 50% are defined contribution plans, which is geek speak for 401k, simple IRA, 403b, that sort of stuff. There is still a chunk out there that still has some legacy pension type stuff, but no other 401k benefit.
So you're saying 2/3 of employees are covered by a plan at work?
Essentially.
Okay.
Yeah. And even though that's higher than what you guys were thinking, that's low. I would have said 90%.
Because 90% of the people you interact with every day
isn't that
have
crazy?
one, right?
Yeah. And so if you find yourself in that percentage where you say, I don't have a 401k at work, then what do you do? What do you do? And I'll tell you, and this isn't a show about politics, but the government has tried to step in this gap and say, we're going to solve this. And they've just done a terrible job, by the way. I don't think this is their solution, personally. So what do you do? And I think this impacts more than even just that 1/3 of those of you listening that say, I don't have a 401k at work. There's a lot of instances where you might not have one.
Well, yeah, and I like how Kevin at the start of the show pointed out that it could be that you temporarily don't have one. Maybe you joined a new employer and you just have to wait a certain period of time before you can get enrolled. I mean, we see that all the time, right?
Yeah.
A client comes in and says they're changing jobs, and we need to help them figure out what are they doing with their old retirement dollars. But then one of the first questions is, well, how long is it going to be before you get to start up your contributions at work again? And it's common for it to be a bit of a wait, although I would say it seems to me to be less often that people are having to wait an extended period of time. More and more employers are letting people in earlier, it seems.
Yeah, a lot of employers have decided to match their eligibility for health benefits with their eligibility for the 401k, and so to keep things more simple.
Yeah.
But and Mike, I'm not a big government guy, but I actually do think the government is taking strides to facilitate, I'm going to say, better options for at work and bigger buckets to put the money in and other things. It's I don't look to the government for the solution,
Yeah.
but I do think right now there's a set of tools that if you own a business and you said, hey, I want to create an opportunity for my employees to prepare for an eventual retirement, there's never been a better time in the history of the world to get yourself and your employees prepared for retirement than today.
Are you referring to a lot of the incentives that the government has put out there, tax savings, that sort of thing, credits and whatnot?
Sure. So there are some incentives out there, but there are also some structures that are available: a pooled employer plan, a multi-employer plan, and the difficult thing about saying this is, oh my! So the difficult thing about this is that if you are good at, if you have a factory and you make widgets and you need a retirement plan, it's almost like you need to set up a second business. Yeah. It is very complex, and you do sign up for a lot of liability. And I've talked to many business owners about that, and I felt kind of the same myself when someone comes and says, well, here are the issues, and you're like, well, they haven't affected me, so I'm going to kind of just ignore it.
Yeah.
And you can't do that. So anyways, I know this isn't the purpose of the show, but I do think there are great opportunities right now if you're a business to set that up to facilitate it. But the question for today's show is, what if you don't have that opportunity?
Well, if you own a small business, then you might have the opportunity to set one up. So we'll probably hit that later in the show if there's time. And actually, coming up in a few weeks, we're going to start a series on small business financial planning, and we're going to dedicate one of the shows to what are the retirement options available to you, and so on. And but other times you're going to find yourself without a 401k or retirement plan available to you at work is if you're if you're part-time, or if you are self-employed, just kind of hanging a shingle yourself. And so anyway, so what are your options? We're going to go through the I would probably say this is the right order, but it just depends on your situation. And you've got to be working with your CFP. I mean, all of this is part of what Kevin has called your tax shelter strategy, which I think we probably need to rename that because it just sounds so geeky, but it is so critically important. What is your strategy for funding retirement, funding your long-term goals by using the tax system, the tax shelters that are available to you? So if you don't have a retirement plan at work, I think option number one is you've got to look at funding an IRA. And I'll just throw the other one in there as well, funding an IRA or a Roth IRA. So guys, if you don't have a 401k at work or retirement plan at work, are you limited on how much you can contribute into these? What's available to you via IRA or Roth IRA?
Well, I want people to, as you're listening and you think, okay, well, I have a retirement plan at work, and Mike is saying if you don't, then you should contribute to an IRA. And so it'll be easy to just right now in your mind say, well, I can do one or the other.
Yeah.
And what I want you to know is you can do both. So you can have a retirement plan at work, and you can have a 401k. You can fully fund your 401k. And anyone, even Bill Gates, who's a big income person? Bill Gates was from the 90s.
Elon Musk.
Okay, if you're Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're Elon Musk and you make, I don't know, a gazillion dollars a year, you can contribute to a traditional IRA. Now, it wouldn't be deductible, and so you want to understand what the deductibility limits are, and whether, because again, if it's a traditional, it's either non-deductible or deductible.
You're really like
you went
working
deep real
yourself
fast.
down a rabbit hole here.
Why?
So let's step back for a second, because the beauty of an IRA is exactly what it stands for. It's an individual retirement account, right? You're not dependent upon your employer to set it up for you. You don't have to get permission from someone else, or it doesn't have to be part of their game plan to offer it to you or some other group of people. No, this is your choice. You can go set up an IRA for yourself or your spouse. You can make this choice on your own. And you're going to use the earnings, the wages, or as I often call it, the paycheck money that you've received, or even the profits from your side hustle. If you've got a side business, that's treated as a qualifier that allows you to get into the game with an IRA or a Roth IRA. Either way, though, the point is this is something that you set up on your own. It's very simple to do. There's not a lot of complexity like there would be if your employer was setting up a 401k for you. And the cool thing is that you can contribute right out of your bank account. You could trickle money in every single month, just an automatic transfer of cash if you wanted to. Or you could write a check. You can transfer money one time a year. It's up to you. Here in the year 2024, the limit is $7,000 though.
Yep. So we're going to get into that and the funding and untangle what Kevin started sharing as well. So we got that and more coming up on the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for being here. This is the Wise Money Show. What you're watching right now is our weekly 1-hour talk show that airs right here on this channel, 10 a.m. Eastern time every Saturday morning, and also on podcasts at the same time, but also on a couple local radio stations. So yes, it's a talk show. That's why the structure is broken up the way that it is, and that's why we're just bantering about these sorts of things, but still with a direction, all of that direction, trying to help you make wise decisions in your financial life. Look at the 6 areas of your financial life that are seemingly disconnected, and make decisions that bring synergy to them. So if this length of episode isn't your speed, we've got lots of other content that airs all throughout the work week right on this channel. Next Wise Step videos that take one issue and, again, take that same multifaceted approach to help you take your next wise step in your financial life. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications. If you like the content, leave questions and comments below as well. Thank you. Yeah, sorry. It's awful when you get like indirect feedback when you're talking on the radio and you have no idea. Well, wait a second. What did I do?
Say? Yeah.
No, it just went quickly to like really complicated. And I thought we were just hitting sort of surface, and then it went, oh, so that was all.
Well,
So you didn't do anything wrong. We were just trying to make light and tease you that, well, we were like flying and then
I'm glad I'm not self-conscious, because if I were. And Josh, you can't say that if you have a side hustle, it qualifies you to put money into these retirement plans, because there are no side hustles that have a positive cash flow. No, there's no income that shows up on my tax return from my side hustles.
That's not advice, by the way.
Yeah,
that was a
do
joke.
the side hustles that Kevin has
going. That was
going.
a joke right there. So.
Well, every side hustle I've ever tried. Yeah.
All right,
It's a
so
money pit.
we're gonna hit IRA and Roth, and yeah, if you have the choice of whether you deduct it or not.
I think what I would want to drive the point home is you want to figure out what the tax deferred, tax beneficial strategies are that you can take advantage of first, and then look beyond that. Because really, this is a financial planning question, right?
Yeah.
How many of the 6 areas does this hit?
Present financial position. I mean, potentially,
Tax
depending
Tax
on your,
planning, investment planning,
retirement
retirement planning, estate planning.
Yeah, 5 of them.
I was gonna say, depending on your indirectly protection planning too, health insurance, depending on how you have it structured.
Or
We'll get there.
If you have your Hotel Sierra Alpha.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's get into it. Here we go. What's your tax shelter strategy? And especially if you don't have a 401k available to you or retirement plan available to you at work, it's even more important, it's more critical that you work with your CFP, look at all 6 areas of your financial life, and come up with the right tax shelter strategy for you. We're helping with that right now. This is the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. Thanks for being here. My name is Mike Bernard, and with me in the KFG studios, Kevin Korhorn and Josh Gregory. Stay up to date on all Wise Money content. Find us online, wisemoneyshow.com, and then all over social media, wherever you're at, we are there as well. Now, this is interesting. So we just passed the holidays, and I don't know who it was, but a company, I haven't looked, just put it in the break room, sent some chocolates and goodies to Mark Bernard. And I every time I hear myself say my name, I wonder, am I Mike or Mark? Because I say it so quickly and I can't enunciate. So it's
You've
Mike.
been misunderstanding your parents this whole time.
I have. All right. So that's not what we're here to talk
Mark,
about.
it is.
So here we go. If you don't have a 401k available to you at work, it's even more critical that you're working with your CFP and exploring what options are at your disposal. based on your tax situation, based on your goals, based on, there's 6 areas to everyone's financial life. We rattled off in the break. This is directly going to impact at least 5 of them.
Yeah.
Your cash flow, so present financial position,
Yep.
tax planning, that's what we're talking about.
Yes.
How are you going to invest a dollar, so investment planning, saving up the right amount for retirement, so retirement planning, and then estate structure and all that sort of stuff, so estate planning. And I would argue, and we're going to share here in just a moment, I think it indirectly also hits the 6th area, protection planning as well. It depends on the health insurance you have. So first option I would look at, again, you've got to do this with your CFP. We're not telling you to go it alone and that this is adequate. It's just giving you ideas. You got to look at IRA or Roth IRA. Josh left off with saying that limit for 2024 has increased to $7,000. It's finally a round number again. Mm-hmm. The catch-up contribution, if you're experienced in life, age 50 or older, you get an extra $1,000 on that. Now that's for 2024 and beyond. We're in this window of time where you can make a 2024 contribution, but you can also make a 2023 contribution, and the limit for last year, $6,500. Josh just hit himself on the microphone. It was hilarious. That was great. I hope we have that captured in video. Go to YouTube, check it out. $6,500 and then plus the $1,000 catch up. The issue Kevin was saying is you can fund these IRA, Roth IRA, and you probably should, even if you do have a 401k. But if you don't, I would look here first. If you don't have a 401k and have earned income, you can contribute to an IRA or Roth, especially an IRA, and you can deduct it if you want to. If you have earned income, but your income is too much, you might not be able to do a Roth.
That's right. And that's because of phase-out rules, right? But that's why the decision on where you're going to contribute to retirement, it's not just what buckets are available to you. It's also, consider the tax ramifications, as we were saying. Because not only do you have to consider, am I eligible, but which one's going to make the most sense today? Which one's going to make the most sense down the road? We're often talking about the difference between traditional retirement accounts and Roth versions of those same types of accounts, and basically saying that it's a decision between, do I want the tax savings now, or do I want them out there in the future? Yep. Right? Am I willing to pay the tax today when I know what tax bracket I'm in, so that I can avoid the taxes in the future when I presume to be in a different tax bracket, and or vice versa? And the strategy is unique to your situation. And I got to tell you, it can change from year to year as well.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so this has to be an ongoing decision and an actual process that you go through with your certified financial planner to make your decision every single year based on what you know of new and changing facts.
Yeah, I think the big idea is, because you say, well, if I don't have a 401k at work, why even a 401k? Well, because it's the tax shelter. Again, you can have before or after tax money in your 401k typically. And then you say, well, if I don't have the 401k, what would I be looking at next? And the next thing we would look at is a tax sheltered investment, which is the IRA. And that, again, is going to be dependent upon your income. Because, Josh, you're saying, well, you pick which one you want. You might not have a choice.
Yeah.
So you need to know for sure that you can fund it. And then how do you fund it? How do you invest it? All that stuff. That's where you want to be working with your certified financial planner to make those decisions. Because I found, as we work with folks that are retiring, and one of the interesting phenomenons, for most of my career, I worked with folks that were younger and had lots of time as they're getting ready for retirement. And it seems as though, and this is anecdotal, but there are lots of folks that are getting kind of close to retirement that are showing up and saying, now I want a financial plan. I've done it, and they've actually done an amazing job. They're really good at saving. The folks that have the big chunks of money right now are the folks that didn't panic in the 2008 and 9 Great Recession and watched these tremendous dips in the value of their investments. And now that they've come back and they've just left their stuff alone, now they're looking for financial wisdom and how do we do this? Mm-hmm. But I think the ones that are most satisfied are the ones that have saved in a number of different places, not just a 401k, not just an IRA, but they've got other choices as well.
Yeah. Somewhere along the line, they decided that they're going to prioritize retirement. They're going to be saving right off the top. That is one of the advantages of the 401k. So if you don't have a 401k, it is a bummer in a way because it's so easy to contribute to the 401k, right? Yeah. Right out of every paycheck, your employer is facilitating this steady and consistent contribution, and hopefully you've forgotten about it. You know, you made a decision, a really wise decision some time ago to get going on your own retirement savings. You put things in motion, and then the machine keeps it rolling for you. You get used to living without that money. So what if you don't have a 401k, though? How do you replicate that same goodness in your own financial life? Well, the good news is that you can do that with a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA. If you're eligible to contribute to those, and you set one up, you can put that on autopilot as well. Mm-hmm. It works a little bit differently. It may not be coming right out of your paycheck, but what if your paycheck gets dumped right into your bank account, as it always has, most likely, and then on a regular basis, your bank sends money straight to your IRA or to your Roth IRA, again, without you having to reconsider it all the time, without redeciding that you want to do this. Put it on autopilot. You can do that with both a 401k or an IRA.
So is funding an IRA or Roth, is that enough? Is it enough? In your situation, is $7,000 a year, does that ring the bell? Is that the target? As you've worked on your 5-factor retirement plan with your CFP, is that the right number to fund? For many people, it might be, right? It may not be for you. And this is, we remind you of this every single year right now. I would consciously, if you do have a 401k or a 403b at work, go in and increase your contribution percentage 1%. You're not going to miss it.
Yeah.
You won't even be able to tell. Okay. Mm-hmm. So okay. If this $7,000 plus plus $1,000 if you're age 50 or older, if that's not enough, and you say, "Yep, here you guys, I'm funding those. I'm doing that every single month. I'm going to max it out." What's next? Well, this is where I would say the sixth area of your financial life, or normally in the order is second, protection planning. I would look at the HSA next, health savings account.
Hang on, can we go back 1 second before you go on to HSA?
Yes.
Just keep in mind, and this may not have been evident based on what we've been saying, if you are married, you may have an IRA available to you and your spouse. So it may be $7,000 for you and your spouse, a total of $14,000. Does that get you closer to being able to be on pace for your retirement goal before you move on to some of the other tools?
Yeah,
and you do. Actually, if you have at least $14,000 of income or $16,000 of income,
that's the key.
Because you each have a coupon. So the question is, are you going to fill it up? And if you don't, it's use it or lose it.
That's right.
Kevin has sensory issues, and I think I've noticed this before, but I'm shocked that you're a coupon guy, not a coupon. I'm just shocked by that. But the HSA is the next option. Now, is it the same thing? Hey, as long as I have income, but maybe I'm not allowed to have too much, I can contribute to an HSA? No, unfortunately not. The eligibility is one massive one and then a trick, and that is the massive one. You need to have a qualifying high-deductible health plan. You need that. And if your health plan is not HSA eligible, you can't contribute to an HSA. That's it. So that's the big qualifier. Not an income requirement, not an age requirement. It's, do you have this plan? And then the trick is, well, you can't have any other health insurance at the same time. And most people wouldn't. But that allows you to contribute to an HSA. How should that factor in your tax shelter strategy, and what other options are available? We got that and more coming up on the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. I can't believe it. Coupon. I wouldn't have expected it.
I think I grew up as a coupon and switched to coupon.
Is
somewhere.
it a Michigan thing?
I don't know. I don't know. Have you ever had split pea soup? No, I think you've had split pea soup. I think you've had chicken noodle soup. I don't think you've ever had tomato soup. Are you kidding me? Come on, Michael Paul Bernard. I'm going to start calling you Mark.
It's Mark, yeah.
All right. Come on, Mark. No, the only thing that I would say...
it's not Michael Pohl.
Listen, okay. On a more...
Good rebuttal.
You
don't have a response to that.
It doesn't make any sense. I'm not going into Never Never Land. Listen. The only trick... The IRA, I can use that money almost any time, certainly any way. because the HSA is one step removed from that.
I disagree.
Well,
At age 65,
That's what he's saying, though.
yeah,
Not at age 59 and a half.
not at age 64.
yeah, that's true. All right.
And I mean, if you're going to go there, you probably have to give honorable mention to
529.
sure.
Yeah, it's not on my list, but I thought that. So okay, third
Okay.
segment,
Would you go
HSA.
there before you'd go to,
joint account.
yeah,
Well, I don't know.
Non-qualified?
Well, you tell me where.
I say no.
What are the potential things that need to be funded? You tell me what age I am.
Well, we
Because-
are talking about the retirement goal, so saving for retirement.
Right.
And the reason why I would probably do individual or joint account first is the 529 that you can now shift to a Roth. It boxes out your ability to contribute directly to a Roth.
Right.
So it would be a very unique circumstance for where someone.
And but did you have to hold it for 15
another-
years? In 15 years, you're certainly going to be working for a company that's got a 401k.
I would probably do individual or joint before.
Well, yes, if you're talking about flexibility, if you're talking, because the question is what, it's just the hierarchy of need. Is my highest hierarchy flexibility and choice? Then for sure, I mean, you'd go there right off the.
If the need is retirement, yeah, the making sure that that 529 plan can actually get into a retirement account is not a for sure thing
Yeah.
in each person's circumstance. So I'd probably put that one ahead. We can
No.
debate it on the air.
I don't disagree.
All right, here we go. Third segment. If you don't have a 401k available to you at work, or even if you do, what should you automatically just start putting money into an individual investment account, or are there other options you should consider first? That's what we're helping with right now. This is the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. Thanks for being here. My name is Mike Bernard. With me in the KF2 studios, Kevin Korhorn and Josh Gregory. Every episode of the Wise Money Show is on podcast, wherever you listen. Search the Wise Money Show, subscribe to it there, or follow us there. Rate the program there as well. We appreciate it. All right, so we're talking about saving up for retirement if you don't have a retirement plan available to you at work. Even if you do, many of these same ideas still apply. And again, that's where we're going to just come back and continue to rest on. You got to work with your certified financial planner, looking at all 6 areas of your financial life, and come up with your tax shelter strategy. What makes the most sense in your situation? And we've said it a gazillion times. Josh said it earlier. That could change each year, could change when your income changes, job changes. You've got to revisit that tax shelter strategy. Going into but if you don't have a retirement plan available to you at work, you've got to first look at IRA or Roth and determine which one's best and most appropriate in your situation. And then next, if you've got a high deductible health plan, HSA more and more, I just view that as an incredible retirement vehicle. And Kevin, we were talking at the break about flexibility. Mm-hmm. And the HSA, one of the drawbacks is, compared to the IRA or Roth, is as soon as you turn 59 and a half, you can start pulling money out of your Roth IRA. We'd say that should be the last account you touch for most people.
Yeah.
But you can draw money out of your IRA.
You can pull
without
money out of
penalty.
your Roth IRA basis anytime.
Yeah, it still probably wouldn't. Yes, that's true. I wouldn't do that. I would encourage you to wait.
No,
Wait.
right. This is not an endorsement.
Yes. The HSA, you can draw money out anytime to cover qualified medical expenses. If you draw it out for any other reason, there would be tax and penalty. There is a unique rule. Most people don't know about this. At age 65, why 65 and not 59 and a half? Because they made it complicated.
Keeping it simple.
Yep. You can draw money out of your HSA for a non-health, qualified health purpose and pay tax on it, but not a penalty. So,
Yeah, the thing that makes all of this possible or a great strategy is the invention over recent years of HSAs that can be invested. early on when HSAs were created, for the most part, they were just a bank account that maybe earned a little bit of interest was all. And the HSA was originally thought of as just an account to cover your medical bills as you incur them. But the way the law is written, you can reimburse yourself from this account, and it doesn't have to be in the same year that you spent the money on the medical care, right? So the thing to keep in mind is that it opens things up for this to now be a longer-term vehicle, give it some growth potential, and when it's growing tax-free, like the Roth IRA, man, you really have to consider using this for retirement.
Yeah. And if you do, you want to make sure that when a medical expense comes up, that you've got the resources there out of cash flow or out of other savings to cover those expenses. You don't want to invest your HSA and then have your kid break their arm, and then you've got to sell your investments in order to cover that cost. HSA contribution for 2024, that one has gone up as well. $41.50. They keep that simple too. Is the individual contribution limit. If you are age 55 or older, you get an extra $1,000. Again, that's not simple either. Those are the individual numbers. I don't have the married memorized. I'm assuming 8,300, something like that, is probably the base. And then you could each, if you're each over 55, you could each do an extra $1,000. It's just you have to contribute it to your own HSA. So, all right.
Yeah, it's 8,300.
8,300. Okay, so 401k or retirement plan available to you at work. Great. If you don't have that, then you skip that step. You go right to IRA or Roth. Then you look at HSA. Then we were having this debate as well. I think you've got to look at what other tax shelters could possibly be available to you. I think one that we sort of jumped over, and it's kind of honorable mention here. So many people overlook their spouse's 401k. It's so many people when they come in, a couple, and it's, well, he's got a 401k available, and so he's contributing 10%. I don't have a 401k available, so that's why we've just been funding his. Well, wait a second. So that means all of your income, you're not saving up the 10 or 15% or whatever your goal is. You're not saving that up on your income. Well, shift his contribution to 20% instead of just 10. And max out the one that's available to you, or leverage it for the couple as opposed to thinking of it as just an individual.
Yeah, I just met with a client this week who they've been living off of the husband's income for years, and they're getting close to the college years, and their game plan is that the wife is going to go back to work now to help fund college. And so in their minds, all of her income is just college income. And, not losing sight of her retirement plans is really important in this situation too, because you could just get your blinders on, have every dollar that she's earning going towards the college bill, and not realize, oh, you're leaving some employer match on the table at her employer as well, because you never even thought of getting rolling on retirement. Well, fast forward past the college years, if she's continuing to work, now maybe a huge portion of her income could be going into that retirement plan. And so you don't want to lose sight of the fact that you may have more than just one 401k, more than one employer plan available to you.
Yep. So look at, and this is, you got to look at all 6 areas of your financial life, and you've got to look at your entire financial life, not just sort of your own, even though an IRA is individual and retirement plans are set up for one person individually. Tax shelters are in one person's name, but look at your entire financial situation. All right, after that, most tax shelters have been exhausted. 529 is a possibility for college, but now they've opened the door where you've got a bridge to move those dollars to a Roth out there in the future. So that maybe is something you should consider. But before that, you got to just then say, my tax shelters are exhausted. If you need to save up more for retirement or have more resources that you could save up for retirement, an individual account or a joint account.
Yeah, this is most common when your family has big income, right? Where if you were saving a percentage of your paycheck into a retirement plan and it maxes the thing out, you hit the IRS's limits on how much you can contribute, but you're not on a pace to be able to replace the right amount of income for you in retirement, then you do have to look at other tools. And the good news is that you can open up investment accounts in your own name individually, or as a married couple, you can open them jointly. Some people even put them into a trust account so that it matches up with their estate planning. But the point is that it's not in an IRA, it's not in a Roth IRA, not in a 401k, not in any type of a tax shelter often. And that's okay, because you can still find ways to invest tax efficiently or have a tax sensitive approach, even though it's not literally sheltered away from the tax man. These types of mutual funds that maybe you're buying, or maybe you're buying some stocks or bonds or CDs, that kind of thing, as it earns interest, as it gains value and you buy and sell within this account, as it earns dividends, that kind of thing, all of that income is reported to you on a 1099 most often, and that has to then fall on your tax return. So you have to count it as income in the year that you generate the income. So you will be paying a little bit of tax along the way. However, it's still a place to get yourself access to some growth, get access to that compounding interest that can occur. And that's really the magic of it all. You're going to reach your longest term goals by growth potential, often driven mostly by the stock market, not by just accumulating some money in a savings account at the bank.
And then here you go. You will have one of the terms we use in our house is hustle while you wait. So if you've done that because you don't have a 401k available to you at work, you've been saving up, so you've been hustling while you're waiting. And let's say a few years later, you've got that 401k available to you. And now you start funding that thing, and you no longer need to fund this this non-IRA account, and you can begin shifting these dollars from the non-IRA account over to the Roth, because you're not contributing out of pocket there, you're contributing to your 401k. Or maybe you max out your 401k, that brings your income, your take-home income below where you were hoping or needing it to be, and you actually live a little bit off of this joint account and play the shell game, as Kevin talks about. And so you've got choices. You've got choices if you're hustling while you're waiting, if you're proactive in your financial life and you're saving up. Now, there's a few other options available to you. You might be listening saying, well, I do have that side hustle, or I do run a small business. What are my options? So we've got that and more coming up on the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. All right, Lindsay, you got to help. I feel like this is already like the 7th segment. That's only the 3rd segment, right? Okay. Sorry, Kevin. I would have much rather had you talk instead of me, but
no, that's good. That's good. I think the fans out there. Okay, so what are we going to hit?
So 4th segment, I think we do circle back to I own a small business and don't have a retirement plan because it's just me and 4 other people, and I've always thought it's just way too expensive. Or I've got a side hustle, or it's my only hustle, but it's just me. And then lastly, if there's any time after that, it's we can talk about, well, what if you have a 401k but there's no match? And, does that...
Can you talk about some of those incentives that are out there right now? Some of the fees being covered and even employer match money that's flying around. It really is crazy when you stop and consider that.
It's crazy. Yep, it's crazy.
How is that happening? But if it is, take advantage of it.
Yeah. All
Benefit from it.
Here we go. 4th segment, land on the plane. Thanks for being here. This is the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. My name is Mike Bernard. With me in the KFG studios, Kevin Korhorn and Josh Gregory. Every episode of the Wise Money Show, as well as a lot of other content, it's on the YouTube channel. Go check it out. Well over 1,000 videos. If there's a financial question you have, situation you're facing, likely we've created content, valuable content about it, and how to explore that issue and how it's connected to all 6 areas of your financial life to help you take your next wise step. So go to YouTube, search The Wise Money Show, subscribe to it there, turn on notifications so you're made aware every time we drop new content as well. We appreciate that. All right, so all of this, the entire kind of topic today for the show has been saving up for retirement if you don't have a 401k available to you. This is a financial planning question. It absolutely touches 5 of the 6 areas of your financial life. I think all 6. And you've got to be working with your CFP on that, exploring what your options are. Now, for those of you that have hung around in the conversation, or maybe just tuning in now, but you own a small business. And you've always thought, well, we're too small to have a 401k or retirement plan, either because, Kevin, you brought it up earlier, hey, it's Greek to me.
Right.
You know, we make widgets. That is so complicated.
Yep.
I'm not doing this. Or, well, a couple years ago, it was just me. And then we added an employee. And now we've got 3 employees. And I'm assuming the cost is too much, but I start to feel like I need to offer something. What should you consider?
Well, you should talk to someone who does employee benefits, and really, you know, at Corhorn Financial Group, you could talk to any of our certified financial planners because they can help you understand and navigate the maze and what, you know, should I set up a SEP IRA or should I set up a single K? We worked with some folks who were actually Wise Money Show listeners who had a single K and they were both fully funding it. So mom and dad are fully funding it. That's cool. And I said, well, do you have any other employees? And they do. Well,
Oops.
Yeah, well, you can't do that, but in reality, you can. There's a lot of things that you can do, and it's in theory, it's all legal till you're audited. Yeah. So if no one ever catches you doing it, you're not going to get in trouble. Now, if you get caught, it almost sounds sinister because these people, it's not like, well, they were even trying to get away with something. It's just they didn't understand what the rules are, and then they had professionals that were serving them that were just doing, not thinking and doing, just doing. And all they had to do was ask a simple question. Hey, do you have any other employees? Because as soon as you get that answer, bam. Now, the other question that I would ask now that I'm thinking about this is, do you own any other businesses?
Yeah, my mind went there too.
Yeah, because you do it for one, you got to do it for the rest. There's more to it than that. But here's the great news. If you don't have a retirement plan, there's never been a better time to set up a retirement plan. You can get a tax credit to cover 50% of your startup costs, up to $5,000 a year for the first 3 years that you sponsor the plan. And if you have 50 employees or less, you can also have the employer contribution can be covered. And so, I mean, there's some pretty
that part's amazing. Yeah.
It is. And so if you're a small business and you say, hey, I don't want to sign up for a retirement plan because I don't want to have that expense, and that expense might be the first thing that goes out the window when times get tough. Well, if you're working with a financial planner, they can help you. You can get the benefits from the tax benefits that are available to you right now and get enough money in that plan in 3 years so that the plan can be covered. The cost of the plan can be covered by the people who benefit by the plan. Mm-hmm. And so, because when that happens, when the costs of the plan are covered by the people who benefit from the plan, those plans stay in place through good times and bad.
Yep, you're exactly right. And remembering why you're doing it as well. It's not just because there's a tax incentive out there or the government has made it a little bit easier to remain in compliance, that kind of thing. At the end of the day, the purpose of this plan is to help you and your employees get ready for retirement, right? Every employer that we ever talk to, they all want good things for their team members, don't they?
Yeah.
You know, they want their financial lives to be getting better, to have an upward spiral happening in their life. And a retirement plan is just an amazing tool to help facilitate that. Make it easy. It's like in your break room having fruits and veggies sitting out instead of candy bars and chips and things. It just makes it easier to make a good choice. So if you want to make a great choice or make that easier for your employees, give them a retirement plan that they can just start trickling dollars into regularly and getting great investments available to them so they tap into the amazing compounding growth potential of the stock market.
So the 401k, is no longer out of reach for the small business.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you wouldn't have necessarily said that a decade ago or even a couple years ago. You probably would have said, well, if you're a small business, you probably need to look at a simple IRA. Now, I don't want to say it like that, like, that's a bad thing. Simple IRA is a good plan as well. And they are now rolling out the Roth options for simple IRAs too. So that could be a good option as well. Couple years ago or before these tax incentives, we would have said, oh, no, that's a great option. But you've got to look at both. And right now, 401ks have higher contribution limits and there's a little more flexibility. They're not as kind of rigid. And if you've got a lot of the costs covered through credits, my goodness, you got to. So Kevin's right. He started with you got to talk to a retirement plan expert. You do. And so now if you are self-employed. Now, that sounds a lot like own your own business, but one has employees. And if you're self-employed, well, what if you don't have employees?
If you don't, then you definitely have a great option in basic. I mean, there's a couple of great options. My favorite option is the one man or one woman 401k. Call it a solo K. There's lots of different terms for it. But basically you can have a retirement plan. The only thing that I would be considering, and if you're listening right now and you say, oh yeah, cool, I've got one of those, just make sure you're filing a Form 5500 if you get more than $250,000 in your plan.
Yep.
Because at that threshold, then you've got to do something about it.
It's just another reason why we encourage people to not go it alone, right? Have a guide who's helping you not just make great decisions for your financial future, but also to stay in compliance. Missteps along the way, just sins of omission, not even sins of commission, can still set you back, right? And it's unnecessary. You don't want to get tripped up along the way while you thought you were doing all the right things and pointing yourself in the right direction. Your guide, your certified financial planner is there to be a part of your life and to help make sure each step you're taking is one in the right direction.
Yep. Single K then, or solo K, or solo 401k, or whatever. It's got a lot of names. That's a great option if you don't have any employees or if it's just you and your spouse. That's a great option. Another option is a SEP IRA, Simplified Employee Pension. Now, we like the single K above that, but in certain instances, the SEP can make a lot of sense depending on the other options that are available to you. If you have employees and you don't have Thanksgiving dinner with them, you're probably not looking at a SEP. Meaning, what I mean by that is if you have a SEP and you have employees, if you're going to make a contribution to one person's account, you've got to make that same contribution to everyone's. So it's not a match. It is just
it's essentially like a profit-sharing contribution.
Yeah.
And what you do for one, you have to do for all. So most commonly, we see a SEP IRA being used by someone who either just has their own small business with no employees, they have a side hustle, that kind of thing. It gives lots of flexibility on the timing of when you make that contribution. You could wait until your taxes are all prepared and you have a good sense of how the year shook out and then choose to make the contribution. So a fantastic tool. It's just we usually limit its use so that you don't end up spending more dollars than what you even intended on retirement contributions.
The only time I've seen it recently is for a family business where it's no one but family works in the business. And now even that, I would say, gosh, with these incentives, I look at 401k. So work with your certified financial planner. What's your tax shelter strategy? Does it include a 401k or does it not? And what other pieces should you add to it? That's the job of your CFP. Work with them. All right, that's all the time we have for today. On behalf of Josh Gregory, Kevin Korhorn, all of us at Korhorn Financial Group, have a great weekend. We'll see you next Saturday for the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group.
Securities offered through Silver Oak Securities, member FINRA/SIPC. Advisory services offered through KFG Wealth Management, LLC. Doing business as Korhorn Financial Group. KFG Wealth Management, LLC and Silver Oak Securities Incorporated companies are unaffiliated.